Cam Ward offered his advice to new Miami starting quarterback Carson Beck. Here's why Beck needs to take it to heart.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I am Alex Donno, University of Miami alumnus, co-host of Locked On ACC, and writer for Canes County at Rivals. And thank you so much to the everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by the all-new 2025 Nissan Armada. Stay with us for the Armada Team of the Week later on in this episode. And in this loaded episode, we've got an update on facilities. People are always asking me, Donno, what's going on with these football facilities? Concrete update is with us today. We also have a big visitor on campus, Javari Flowers. How is that visit going? Where does Miami stand? We'll talk about Miami's offensive potential this year, which very much relates to Cam Ward's advice to Carson Beck. But folks, it's a Tuesday, and you know what that means. It's a Truth Teller Tuesday. Bruce Warner is with us. And Bruce, I think our guy Cam Ward solidified his top overall pick status at Pro Day yesterday.
Well, that's up to the Titans, but I think that's where he should go. I want him in the Giants, but even if he was available, they'll pick like a center or something like that. I can't deal with the Giants anymore. I just can't. And I'm waking up. I was sound asleep, and at 8:40 in the morning, Caesar calls me and wakes me up. But now I'm up, so let's rock. I'm ready to go.
We're up. We've had our 5-hour energy. We're raring to go. It's so okay. So obviously, yesterday was about Cam Ward starting the next chapter in his journey. You know, he and so many others had their pro day on campus, but Ward was also, he was asked. I thought it's a great question. It was Matt Shodell from Cane Sport to give his advice to the next Miami starting quarterback, Carson Beck. And this is what Ward had to say to Beck. And Bruce, I'll let you unpack some of this after because there's a lot to unpack. Okay. But Ward said, be yourself. Don't look at the stat sheet and what I did this year, because at the end of the day, it wasn't hard, he said. You're talking about a quarterback playing in Coach Shannon Dawson's offense. You should throw at least 30 touchdowns a year. The previous record was 20-something. I did that in 4 games at UIW. That's Incarnate Word. Right. It's not hard to break records here at Miami, but the biggest thing I would tell Carson is just be himself and win games. At the end of the day, they can talk how bad they want about you, but if you win games, you have the one up on them, he said.
Mm-hmm. Well, as I've always harped and will continue to harp, he might not have the stats that Ward had, which is probably not going to happen. Yeah. But yet they may win more than 10 games. Why? Because I expect our defense to be much better, take the ball away, maybe a pick 6 or 2, fumbles, things like that, instead of the other team driving down the field constantly. And it looks like a ping pong game, back and forth with the scores, 40, 50 points for each team. I don't think that's going to happen. So Beck may not have the stats, but they may win more than 10 games. Now, I don't know if they are. I'm just saying, but that could happen because it's a more balanced team now, I believe. That's what I think. And then if we can get our special teams to play better, yeah, I think look, what do they have? Notre Dame and Florida. The rest of the games every one of them is winnable. Florida State up there, winnable. Those 2 games, to me, if they could win those 2 and go out 4-0, they're in great shape. Now, if they lose those 2, anything's possible. But as far as his advice, stay away from the records. I get that. You can't compete with what Cam did. You just can't. So, listen, I expect this to be a different team altogether. I use the word balance. There will be much more balance on both sides of the ball. I hope. You hope. We all hope. I don't want to see that defense again, ever again.
Right.
Yeah. Never.
I mean, that was a nightmare. It was D'Onofrio-esque, the defense that we had last year. But
yes, it was. Yeah. It was very much like that.
I mean, Ward's advice to Beck, it was very layered because part of it is like, don't compare yourself to what I did. And also like, don't listen to other people when they try to do that. I think the be yourself part was really important. And listen, I hope it's as easy to thrive in Shannon Dawson's offense for anyone else as it was for Cam Ward. Ward made it look incredibly easy to thrive in that offense. But I'll build on what you were saying, Bruce. Like, not only do I think Miami can absolutely be a more balanced team when it comes to both or two of the three phases, hopefully special teams as well, but offense and defense, the defense complementing the offense more. But I also think the offense can be more balanced. Miami's offensive line should be one of the best in the country. I mean, that's what our guy Larry Bluestein, who was out at practice on Saturday, first thing that caught his attention was just how good the offensive line looks and how good they should be this season. And Jordan Lyle and Mark Fletcher, leading that attack up front. Like it's not to say you're like high. I mean, Carson Beck is a really good quarterback. You saw what he did at Georgia the last couple of years, but he can also not only hopefully lean on his defense more than Ward could last year, but can lean more on that running game because they should be really good. Like he should be able, Bruce, to succeed, like Ward said, in this offense.
Yeah, but I also think that I'm guessing right now. I'm just guessing. I haven't even seen him take a snap. I don't think he's going to change the plays as much as Ward did to what Ward wanted. Now, he's experienced. He's not like he's talking to a redshirt sophomore, be yourself. He knows what he's doing. He's played in more big games than Ward probably against better competition. So, yeah, I think that there's going to be a balance. But again, when he had his great year at Georgia 2 years ago, he had Brock Bowers. We have Lofton now. I'm not saying he's Brock Bowers, but he had a go-to tight end. And, we used Arroyo more as like a weapon as a go rather than a go-to guy. But I still think that we need to get Beck familiar with his receiving core, which we don't have that, which is what Bluestein was talking about yesterday, which is what we've talked about for years since we had Leon on the show. You have to have familiarity with the guys on your defensive side of the ball, and for Beck, the receivers. So we don't know that yet. That's the unknown. The injury is one thing. His ability to work with these guys is another, and we're running short on time. What are we, 5 months away? So I know there was some talk about Beck might not play until like maybe the summer. I don't know. I have a funny feeling he may get in before spring is over. Now, is he going to throw bombs? No. Will he maybe take a few snaps? He might. Maybe just to see what goes on with the receivers. But that's just speculation on my part.
Speaking of receivers, I want to get to this on the other side. We'll talk a little bit more about Miami's offense. We'll also talk more recruiting on this episode because Javari Flowers is down now for his official visit. But a remark made by a Miami receiver where old school swagger. You guys want to hear this when we come back. You want to keep it locked. We got the truth teller with us. I am Alex Donno. We're only getting started on Locked On Canes. Guys, the Armada Team of the Week is brought to you by our friends at Nissan and the all-new 2025 Nissan Armada. Each week, our Locked On college basketball experts are picking one team that stands apart. From top-seeded stars to the unexpected upsets, these guys showcase the strength and sheer power needed to push their team forward. This week's Armada and clear-cut Team of the Week is the Arkansas Razorbacks. Despite losing their first 5 SEC games, Coach Cal's Hogs fought their way through the most rugged conference in college basketball to not only make the NCAA tournament, but to knock off back-to-back national champion and Hall of Fame coaches and route to the Sweet 16. They accomplished this all without second leading scorer Boogie Flan for most of SEC play and without leading scorer and rebounder Adu Tiero so far in the NCAA tournament. When it comes to Nissan Armada, they say go forth and conquer, and that's exactly what the Arkansas Razorbacks have done here. It's clear that our Team of the Week is out here ready to conquer the road ahead with confidence, just like you can in the all-new Nissan Armada or any of Nissan's outstanding vehicles. Take the Nissan Armada, Rogue, or Pathfinder and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So staying with Carson Beck here for a second, Bruce. And, what you brought up was relevant. I mean, unfortunately, he's not been cleared to throw yet. So, receivers are kind of having to rely on conversations with him and on film study of what he did at Georgia. And JoJo Trader, who's having an awesome spring so far, could be Miami's top receiver this year, was asked on Saturday if he's been watching Carson Beck film. Here's what he said.
Have you watched film on him?
Oh yeah, of course. I watched Georgia games, so yes, I watched film on him. And I seen a couple throws that he thrown to receivers that dropped the pass. I could have caught the ball. That's how I
they were on the draft last year.
Very Michael Irvin-ish.
Yeah, I was gonna say, would you call that confidence or swagger?
Both. Definitely confidence. And probably swagger in the way that Miami uses that word swagger. Yeah, that's swagger. Absolutely. I mean, he's got a bullseye on his back now, probably, but so what? Let him talk like that. That's fine. Look, we're pinning our hopes on this kid. He's going to be our offensive star, other than the backs. So look, I'm glad he's got the confidence, but he's got to back it up. And that's a concern. They're all young. Who's the most experienced receiver out there?
He is. Well, CJ Daniels will be, but he's banged up.
He's not practicing yet, is he? He's not yet.
He's not.
Well, and I don't know. Maybe that's a guy who's always going to be injured. So, for me, I'm not counting on him. I think the next guy would probably be Carr, I guess, or Lofton. He played some last year,
right? Yeah.
But
yeah, I think hopefully he doesn't get injured again, but I don't think he's been incredibly injury prone. I think Daniels is going to be okay. It was just at the end of the year last year. But something, Bruce, that I did appreciate hearing about CJ Daniels. This was something that Carr talked about. Now, Daniels, 5th-year guy transferring over from LSU. And it sounds like this dude is an alpha. Like, we haven't had a chance to talk with Daniels yet, but Carr mentioned that the receivers meet with him pretty much every day. He's like an extra receivers coach. Carr said, like, they meet with CJ before they all meet with Kevin Beard to kind of discuss everything that's going on. So hopefully he ends up living up to that on the field the way that he is off the field so far.
Yeah, I hope so, because we brought in Sam Brown last year, and he was good at times, really good at times, and then horrible at times. He was inconsistent, and I don't know why he left LSU. I don't know what he did last year at LSU, but he's here, and we need the experience. He's got experience. So I don't know. You know what? I'm looking forward to seeing Carson Beck. I'm looking more forward than that we had to deal with Emory Williams or the other guys, because after that bowl game, it still has a sour taste in my mouth. And from what I'm hearing, the quarterbacks are doing okay, but they are not ready to beat Notre Dame or Florida, or maybe not even Florida State on the road. So it's great that we got Beck. And I remember the first show we did after we got Beck, I remember saying the whole season hinges on that elbow. To me, everything else, I'm assuming that the defense will be better. It seems as if, and I'm kind of going off target here, but it seems as if our defensive backs are starting to create who the top 4 and 5 and 6 guys are. Would you agree with that? You threw out some names yesterday with Bluestein, and I agree with you. Those guys are starting to step up, and that'll probably be your core 6 defensive backs. So if Beck is healthy, all bets are off. I don't give predictions anymore, but I still believe we could knock off Notre Dame at night, at home, in the first game of the season. I do. But our defense and Beck have to be on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, defense is going to be so key, because it wouldn't surprise me if in that first game, with Beck not having much, if any, of spring football with Miami, like you should be able to hopefully lean on your running game and on your defense in that first game. And obviously Notre Dame will try to do the same thing. I mean, Jeremiah Love, one of the best running backs in the country. They did change their coordinator. Al Golden is not there anymore, but they had one of the best defenses in the country. So this could be the type of game where both teams really rely on their defenses and running games. But then if Carson Beck can make a couple of extra throws, that Notre Dame, whoever ends up being their starter, because obviously Riley Leonard, moved on. They've got a competition there. If Beck can make a couple of extra big throws, and guys like Elijah Lofton and JoJo Trader can make a couple of X plays, that could be the difference.
Yeah, last year I remember harping about this all the time, and maybe I'll still harp on it. I don't know, because everybody picks up on my little nuances of what I like. Maybe Beck would be better as a screen quarterback. Throwing short, throwing screens, throwing to the backs, throwing them out in the flat, wheel routes, things like that. I think maybe even open up the offense even more than it was last year, because most of the time Ward was looking downfield and making plays downfield and creating plays by him scrambling around and guys getting open and all that stuff. So maybe it'll be more of a basic offense with with Beck in there because you can't do all those wild things, I don't think. But still, I'm expecting. Gee, I don't know. I shouldn't say this. I remember last year I said 12-0. I said 12. I can't say anything now because I don't know who's going to be healthy come the spring. Maybe in the spring. And we're going down there in 2.5 weeks. So we'll see these guys. But, I heard Blue talk about the offensive line. The offensive line is critical to keeping Beck healthy and the running game. And if we run the ball and they can't stop our running game, look out. So, again, I'm excited about this season. I was not excited when the season ended. I was dreading what's going to happen. We didn't have Beck yet. But now I'm all excited about it. And I'm excited about the recruiting because I want this Flowers kid. We need a return guy badly. We haven't seen that since he was here.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that, Bruce. So his official visit, Javari Flowers, who 4-star defensive back out of Miami Northwestern. Weird recruitment because he reclassified earlier this year. He was going to be a 2026 prospect. He reclassified to 2025.
Just like Malachi, right? Malachi did the same thing.
But earlier in the process, though, like Malachi did it like in the fall. Like Javari Flowers did it like in the winter. He reclassified. So he's got until, I think, April 1st. Well, he's going to announce on March 31st. I think April 1st would be his deadline. Javari Flowers is going to announce on March 31st. And Bruce, I've noticed, and this is just the sentiment, and this is just like the online buzz, okay? Has been, it seems like it's been trending a little bit away from the Javari Flowers Miami buzz of what we had a few weeks ago, right? It's been trending a little bit away, but I think part of that is you go on other visits and buzz starts to build for those other programs. There's been buzz building with Auburn. There's been buzz building with Florida. Notre Dame got into it kind of late with Flowers. Georgia had been in it for him. And, I've noticed in recent weeks, people are a little bit more negative, but Bruce, like that can really change. He got to Miami last night for his official visit. He's taking in practice today. He's probably leaving tomorrow. It's his final OV before he announces on March 31st. So, I think we're going to find out probably by the end of the day today, based on how the tide turns, how much of a priority Miami considers Javari Flowers, because this is a guy that can help you not only in the defensive backfield where, Miami added a lot of guys, but he can also help you on special teams because he is a dynamic returner.
Here's my spin on that. I think he spent the last couple of weeks purposely staying away from here, investigating the other schools, listening to them. He's coming here. He's here now. He'll be here through today and tomorrow, I guess, most of the day tomorrow. And I think it's Monday. He's going to pick Miami. That's what I think. So, if he was trending away, I don't even know if he would come here again. If he really thought I'm going to either go to say, Florida, Auburn, maybe it's NIL stuff. I think Miami, if they're smart, and I don't know anything about the money, it's not my money,
right,
or yours, or the listeners.
Although I do donate to Canes Connection, so it is partially my money.
But still, I think if they want him, and they should want him badly, just because of the return aspect of this guy for the next year or two until he steps into the starting role as a DB, they need this guy on the returns and let Ray not do that anymore if you can help it. But still, I think he's going to pick Miami because we're getting a lot of the guys that we want.
Yeah, and I feel like if it was really so much of a trending away aspect, then why take the visit? Why host the visit?
Why take the visit? Exactly. You know you're not coming. You're going to waste people's times. And I think he wants to come here. He's going to tell them what he heard from the other school, and they'll figure it out. But I think he wants to come here, though. That's my gut.
Yeah, well, I agree with your gut, and I hope Bruce's gut is right on this one. Here's something people are going to love. We are getting updates on Miami's facilities. Not only updates, but upgrades are coming. You want to keep it locked right here, my friends. We're not done yet on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. Folks, we are certainly not done singing the praises of Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades. Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Thank you so much for making this Truth Teller Tuesday episode of Locked On Canes your first listen. Make sure for your next listen, you check my guys out.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Gotta love that from Andy Patton and Isaac Shade. They have
kept it ain't our team, that's for sure. I don't see Miami on either one of those boards, the women's or the men's.
No. I will say, though, Miami's making moves, Bruce. So Jay Lucas is hiring an assistant coach. Eric Pastrana is leaving Georgia for a post at Miami. So Jay Lucas is adding to the staff. The basketball transfer portal opened today. Like, Bruce, if you think the football portal is crazy, and it is, think about, like, on basketball, there's like 15 guys on a roster, right? Way less than football. There are 900 college basketball players who have already entered the transfer portal. 900.
Wow. But and many of them are from Miami, right?
Yeah. We're going to have a whole new team almost next year.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that, but obviously there's something that these kids are leaving. I don't know why. You would think a new coach like this coming from where he came from, they want to stay here, but I don't know.
Yeah, but
let's get back to the facilities. You said there.
Yeah,
now you're not involved with the NIL, but you are paying a portion of expanding the indoor facility, right? That's coming out of your pocket. You put up whatever you left over from Disney, the Disney cruise. You're going to donate.
I have $0 left to expand the facility. That's why the facilities got delayed. I've been taking too many Disney trips. That's why, because we were talking about this a couple years ago, expanding the facilities. It got delayed. So I think they're doing this right, Bruce, because, they had talked about it's going to happen at some point, like the new 7-floor operations center, but like that should not be the first priority. And they're putting that part of it on the back burner. But they are about to start, and this is going to start right after spring football. The most important upgrade, that's going to be expanding the indoor facility, which is currently 70 yards. They don't have a full field indoor. They're going to expand to a full 100 yards, and they're also going to add a new, bigger locker room. And I got to say, not locker room, weight room, I think, and locker room, maybe both as well. And the locker rooms are already nice, and the weight room is nice, but they're going to be even nicer now. But getting the full 100 yards, Bruce, is the most important thing.
Yeah, I wish I had a diagram to see where they're going to put the extra 30 yards. What part of the grounds?
It's going to expand, I think, kind of into Green Tree, and then they're going to
It has to go into Green Tree. Yeah, it has to.
Yeah. But I don't think they're going to take away from. They're just going to like reconfigure Green Tree. So they found a way, I think. So they're not like taking away outside field. They're just kind of rearranging it, if that makes sense.
No, it doesn't make sense because I'm trying to picture it in my head. And it seems to me like when you walk out of the facility as you're going towards the outdoor, there's a field there with a goalpost, which I think they have to knock that goalpost down if they're going to go out 30 yards. But the practice field that they actually practice on, I don't think that's going to be touched at all. I think they'll be fine. Right. Anyway, I think we'll be there in a couple of weeks. So.
Yeah. So, something else I want to mention when we talk about, guys who have been doing well, in practice, Bruce, by all accounts, from those who were, it was a secret practice to the media on Saturday. I was locked out, but there were some VIPs in there, including Larry Bluestein, some other people I spoke to. Josh Moore had a
Yes.
really good Saturday practice. And I'm so glad because, obviously we've talked a lot about Malachi Toney, who's a much different kind of player than Moore, because Moore's 6 foot, 6'4", 215 pounds. And I heard that on Saturday, the true freshman receiver, number 3, had just a ridiculous catch that had everybody's jaws dropping. So hopefully we see that on Saturdays this year.
So that's what we looked for. That's what we said a year or two ago. We need big receivers, just like we said we need big D tackles. Well, they got this kid. They stole him from Florida. I don't want to use the word steal, but they got him. He flipped, and it's to Miami's advantage. A kid like this is very dangerous, and he's only a true freshman. He's going to get better. He's going to get faster, stronger. He's going to understand the nuances of being a wide receiver. So, look, this is a major upside. If this kid plays and he catches 15 or 20 balls this year, that's really going to help him as we go forward. So I'm and also just on the subject, does any wide receiver that we have currently leave after this year, or they're all coming back again? Do you know?
Just CJ Daniels.
Right. He'd be the only one
to come back. And unless somebody leaves early, but I don't know. The only guy who's like heading into his 3rd year is Ray Joseph. Everybody else is 2nd year or first year, except
very young, very inexperienced. That could be a problem. The inexperience of it. Most of that stuff comes from not running the right routes sometimes, or if the quarterback is in trouble, like last year with Ward, where you go. I know they're working on all this stuff, but it's less likely that Beck's going to break out of the pocket as many times as Ward did, and you have to keep your head on a swivel to know what your quarterback's doing. I don't think that's going to happen as much. We're not going to see those spectacular plays, I don't think, out of Beck. He's more of a pure pocket passer who can run. He's not a little guy. He
can run.
When you look at him, but he's not. He's like 6'3", 6'4", right?
Yeah, I think he's like 6'2", 6'3", something like
that.
Yeah,
he's got a good size on him.
Yeah, good size indeed.
Who else do you think? We've heard a lot. I've heard. Listen, Damian mentioned to me about. I shouldn't say this on the air, but Justin. He likes the power. He likes the power and the motor of Moton. And Blay, I saw him talk yesterday. He was interviewed, and he's a big dude.
Yeah.
So that's 3 guys right there, and then you have all the younger guys, and Blunt and these kids. I also heard. I think I'm very curious to see what Hayden Lowe can do. I want to see what he looks like. You've seen him. He looks like a Mr. America. I want to see him.
He looks like a future NFL player.
Right. He looks like it. Right.
Yeah.
Look, so again, a lot of inexperience, but a lot of talent on this team. A ton of talent. Yeah. And the only Achilles heel could be if Beck gets hurt. Obviously, that's obvious. But that's for most teams. And the second thing, we can't lose any offensive linemen.
Yeah.
You can't have Maui Noah get hurt. You can't have any of these guys get hurt. That front 5 is going to be really good. And they're going to find ways to put some of these other kids in spots if they need them. We're talking about Rodriguez and guys like that. I think that they're going to step up this year. And we don't even know what Samson Okunlola is going to do. He's got a big question mark. He's like the Riddler from Batman. Like, what's happening with this guy? Is he even going to stay here?
I hope so. Because again, he's got so much potential, and Alex Mirabal was saying nice things about him last week. So it's just like, to me, it's been a ton of competition, and obviously he hasn't risen to the top, the way that CC did, like immediately.
But he was hurt too. But he was hurt.
Yeah. He was. He's hurt a couple times, so it's affected him. So hopefully,
you fall behind, and with something like this, with this talent, you're not going to get back where you belong. You probably get out of here. But I hope he stays. Yeah. I think he's learning a lot. I think his injury set him back. But I think he's going to play a lot this year. I just do. Maybe short yardage will go in there as another blocker, an unbalanced line, things like that.
Hand him off the football.
No, I like Lofton in the backfield. He's a beast, man. He reminds me of Sapp. Sapp came in as a tight end, but if you put him on a defensive line, he'd still be good. I'll bet he's got that motor.
He could play anywhere. Well, listen, we appreciate the truth. We appreciate the truth teller as always, all of you guys. By the way, I didn't even realize it was today, Bruce. I was notified by the Locked On Network that I've now been 3 years hosting Locked On Canes. And I will say, first of all, thank you for being a big part of this show for almost the entire 3 years, because I started bringing you on pretty shortly after we began this journey. I want to thank the Locked On Network, because I've been doing this sort of stuff, broadcasting, for a long time. These last 3 years have been the most fun I've had in my career, and it's been so rewarding. And this team is amazing. Like, Locked On has helped me grow so much, and I couldn't do it without, and we're going to keep doing it. This is not a retirement speech. So hopefully this is like the first 3 of 30 years on the Locked On Network.
Oh,
but I
30 years.
everyone.
You don't want a 101-year-old Jewish lawyer on your show at 101. So let's not make it. You could stay for 30 years. I ain't going to make it, Alex, but that's okay.
You still got to get the truth teller.
I'm proud. I'm proud of you. I really am. I told you from the first day you asked me to do this, I said, I'll do it for you, because we go back to the days we were on 790, and I always liked you. And I keep telling people, I do this because I want you to be successful. And I'm glad you and me doing it are successful. And I'm happy for you. You deserve a lot of credit because you work really hard. And
thank you.
And I don't take any credit, because you knew from the get-go that I'd be able to bring these players on. I told you I would do it. We're doing it, And look, we're not doing that. We aren't done with it. I have so many players that I can get on here. We're working on it now. But anyway, congratulations for 3 years. And I listen, I'm not going to put anybody else down, but I have a hard time watching these other podcasts. I just look at what they're talking about, and sometimes I don't know if they know what they're talking. It's just guess and speculation, and they throw crap out there and hope some of it sticks. But I know how hard you work. I know how informed you are. And you and I don't take any more than like 20 seconds off the air to discuss what we're going to talk about, and we do it.
Yeah,
and
we do it.
I can tell you this. I don't know about you, because you're way more prepared than I am. I don't have a single note, a single piece of paper in front of me. Everything that we talk about comes off my head, right off the top of my head. I'm not prepared. You just say, Bruce, we're going to talk about this. Let's go, and we do it. And that's what. And I enjoy the banter. Yeah, sometimes people say I cut you off. And I tell you, sometimes you talk too damn much. You don't give me a chance to talk.
That's true.
But it's okay, because it works. And that's what's important. My reward in this is I enjoy doing it. And I really enjoy doing it with you.
And you're the man. God bless you. And God bless everyone who I still can't believe the people outside of my mom watch and listen to this every day. So thank you all so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen.
Yeah, one other thing, Alex. So it's funny because, I get a text one day from Booker texts me. He listens to the show, and Tremaine Mack listens to the show. He's out in Seattle. He's listening to the show. He texts me. I heard what you said. Blah blah. That's pretty cool, And then you tell me that parents listen to the show. Some of the players' parents, which I have to keep my mouth shut.
You know what? You know who I'm so thankful for. Cam Ward's parents. Like
nice.
I saw his dad. Like, Cam Ward is done playing at Miami. His father is still an everydayer, Calvin. Like, I appreciate that so much, that he's you're keeping up with the Canes when your son's about to be the first overall draft pick. Like, stuff like that means so much to me, and I'm happy to be part of this journey. He is Bruce Warner, the truth teller. I am Alex Donno. I'll talk to you guys again next time. I think we'll do something again later on today, talk a little bit more about Pro Day. We'll talk to you guys again on another episode of Locked On Canes. We are part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.